Hello friends, for those who don't know, Daniel Loeb is the founder of Third Point, a New York-based hedge fund created in 1995 that manages $12 billion. His annualized return since inception is just under 16%. At the same time, S&P 500 achieved a return of 9.7%. To put that into perspective, if you would invest $1,000 into the S&P 500 in 1995 and also gave $1,000 to Daniel Loeb to manage it, today you would have $14,655 from the S&P 500 investment and $72,180 from Daniel Loeb. That is almost 5 times as much money. Daniel Loeb is known as an activist investor, similar to other very successful people like Carl Icahn or Bill Ackman, and his net worth is around $3.3 billion. So definitely someone we can learn from. That is why we will take a look at his top 10 US stock positions. We will see the history of those investments, changes he made to them in the recent quarter, and I have a feeling we have a chance of learning something useful along the way. So let's get started. His 10th biggest position is Jacobs Solutions. It makes up 3.46% of his portfolio, and last quarter he did not make any changes to this position. Jacobs Solutions provide a wide range of engineering, design, construction, and technical consulting services to clients across various industries. Daniel Loeb bought his first shares in Q1 2023, so it is a rather recent investment. He bought mainly when the price was around $120 per share. So far, the price is going nicely up and he is not making any meaningful changes to his position. Okay, next up is American International Group. It makes up 3.47% of his portfolio, and last quarter he did not make any changes to this position. American International Group, or AIG, is a finance and insurance corporation which operates in more than 80 countries worldwide. Unfortunately, we don't know when exactly Daniel Loeb bought his first shares, but what we do know is that he owned a substantial amount of them in 2013, and by 2015 he sold all of them. He didn't invest in AIG for around 8 years, and then in Q4 2022 he bought over 5 million shares just to sell around half of them next quarter. And he made a lot of money in that quarter because we can see a sudden spike in price at that time. Now that the price is at its highest point since 2008, he's slowly adding to or holding this position. His 8th largest US stock position is Vistra Group. It makes up 4% of his portfolio, and last quarter he reduced this position by 2.83%. Vistra is an electricity and power generation company based in Texas. Daniel Loeb bought his first shares in Q1 2023, so another fairly new investment. But already we see that the shares went up from around $24 to almost $70 per share. So he basically tripled his money in 1 year. That is very, very impressive. Next up is Alphabet. It makes up 5.82% of his portfolio, and it is a new position for Daniel Loeb. Well, maybe we should rather call it a new old position. He owned this company a number of times through the years. First, he sold it in 2014, just before the price went down. Then, he held it since 2016 till 2018, making a nice profit along the way. Then, he came back in 2021 and sold it exactly at the peak at the beginning of 2022. And just in that period, he almost doubled his money. Then again, perfect timing in Q1 2023, and after all those super profitable investments, he is back once again. I have to say, this is very unusual to see. He goes in and out of this investment, and almost every time he is making a huge profit. His timing, his understanding of this business and the industry is quite exceptional. His fifth biggest investment is Danaher Corporation. It makes up 6.58% of his portfolio, and last quarter he did not make any changes to this position. Danaher Corporation is an American globally diversified conglomerate. It designs, manufactures, and markets medical, industrial, and commercial products and services. Daniel Loeb bought his first shares in Q3 2015 for around $85, and this is one of his long-term investments. The changes are frequent but not really very meaningful, maybe except Q3 2016 when he bought a lot of shares after the price went down a bit, but he also quickly sold them without a meaningful profit. Right now the price is close to $250, so also here he probably tripled his investment. Next up is Meta Platforms. It makes up 7.72% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 6.55%. Daniel Loeb bought his first shares in Q2 2016 for around $114 and closed this position in Q3 2018 when the price was around $190. And we see a similar story as we did with Alphabet. He jumps in and out of this investment, making impressive gains along the way. Since 2020 till Q3 2021, he was not that far off doubling his money, and more recently he bought Meta for around $300, and currently we are well over $460 per share. We may argue that in case of Meta he was a little bit late, but still it is a very nice result. Next up is Bath & Body Works. It makes up 8.26% of his portfolio, and last quarter he reduced it by 7.22%. Bath & Body Works is a retailer that sells personal care and home fragrance products. Daniel Loeb bought his first shares in Q3 2022 for approximately $32, and currently the price is around $50. This position is fairly new and there is not a lot of movement here either. And now we get to the podium places. Third biggest investment is Microsoft. It makes up 9.55% of his portfolio, and last quarter he reduced it by 12.41%. And it is the same story that we saw with other great technology companies. When he invests in companies like Google, Meta or Microsoft, he does not hold them for a long time. He buys and sells trying to take advantage of some rapid market swings. Like we see here in Q4 2022, when the price fell down, he immediately came back to this position. Second biggest position in his US stock portfolio is Amazon. It makes up 11.84% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 21.43%. And even though it is a fairly new position, we see the same investment style as with Meta, Google or Microsoft. He is selling when he believes the price is high and waits for the dip. With such popular stocks that are also at times volatile, it seems like an interesting strategy. And his biggest position is Pacific Gas and Electric Company. It makes up 12.47% of his portfolio, and last quarter he did not make any changes to this position. Pacific Gas and Electric Company, or PG&E, provides natural gas and electricity to 5.2 million households in California. Daniel Loeb bought his first shares in Q4 2017 and very quickly sold them, probably with a loss. But it was a wise decision because after that the price kept on falling till basically the second half of 2019. And in Q2 2020, when the price was at around $9, he invested in a massive way. He bought almost 85 million shares. The price is slowly going up. He is close to doubling his investment at the moment, and through the years he's mainly selling the shares. I believe it is not only to lock in some gains, but also to keep the size of the investment below 15% of the portfolio. What I found really interesting is that he seems to have two different investment styles depending on the type of a company or a sector a company is in. If it is a tech company, he is not a long-term investor. He uses the market to his advantage. When he believes a stock is overvalued, he sells all of it. And because such stocks are sometimes volatile, he buys back the shares after a year or two when the market price goes down in a meaningful way. And he repeats this process through decades. When it comes to other companies that are not that dependent on technology and that are also not that popular, he can hold them for many, many years like a typical long-term investor. If you liked this video, you may also find my analysis of David Rolfe's or Lee Ainsley's portfolio interesting. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.